We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. The world is waking up, and this is the tipping point.
Hello, Patriots. Scott McKay here, Patriot Streetfighter. I know you were all having a great day at the Patriots Day Freedom Fest that Eric Deters put on. And yes, I was supposed to be there. I regret to say that I couldn't. I'm here in Dallas, Texas. We're on Cinderella right now, parked outside of the event that Healing for the Ages put on here in Dallas. So I had a conflicting schedule that kept me from being there. But believe me, I wish I were there. There's nothing better than being around tens of thousands of beautiful people who are out here fighting this battle. And folks, understand something. This is a battle. You are fighting a battle. And that's why a day like today is epic and it's necessary. It's going to be a great day. You got Kimberly Guilfoyle, Don Jr. coming up, and you got good weather. The hurricane was a bolt. It was dodged. I just wanted to pop in and say a couple of things to those of you who are actually out there in this battlefield. I know oftentimes we sometimes tend to paint a rosy picture because we have the most epic Patriot Street Fighter that we've ever seen doing battle for we the people, and that is President Trump. And although we know there's going to be a disrupted process, very likely coming up here in the next couple of months, many people believe that we're going to experience yet another stolen election, nefarious activities going on, things that they're trying to do to bring down the man that has given them the existential threat of their entire existence. And that isn't Donald Trump. But there's one thing that we have in our favor, and that is the power of the energy field that we're standing in, and it is ever expanding because there are more and more people around the world waking up. There are more patriots like you and I who are drawing more people into this battle and this conversation. And no time ever has there been one unifying word, statement, or phrase being repeated all over the world in countries across the globe by humanity simultaneously every single day. And I want you to remember this, regardless of how this battlefield may shape up. At times when it may become difficult, and sometimes you lose the faith that we're going to get the opportunity given to us by players that are acting for the benefit of humanity, not against it. Always remember this: the first time on this planet, worldwide, there is a unified voice of the people, and there is a unified term that we have come to know as a Great Awakening. I've been at this for over 30 years, and I can tell you the frustration that I experienced 16 years in the elective cycle of politics, angling my way, doing what I wanted to do to be able to serve out my mission, and that is to deliver a victory for humanity, and it was going to be in the United States Senate. So 16 years of my life, I was walking this track because I thought this is the way I'm going to be able to serve the people. What we came to learn is the entire architecture, the political architecture is corrupt. It is captured. And we saw how corrupt it was and how deeply captured it was in 2015 when this man came down an escalator, and when he started talking to the camera, within 5 minutes, I just caught it by chance, by accident. And within 5 minutes, as my jaw was dropping, and I said to myself, Holy Mary, Mother of God, there he is. I never saw him coming. And I remember starting to text people around the country, friends of mine, people that worked campaigns for me, and I started to tell them, you got to stop what you're doing right now. You have to get in front of a TV. You have got to see this. This is the Republican nominee and the landslide president. This is the guy we've been waiting for. And obviously, it went down the track that it went. And quite honestly, for 4 years, I watched Donald Trump being brutalized by the Republican Party. Never in history has any one man been so annihilated by the opposing party. Never in history has one man been attacked during a presidential campaign by the United Nations. Never have you seen world leaders, heads of state around the world moving in opposition of this one man. Never have you seen the Vatican come right out in front of the world and telling any of us, Americans or anybody, who to support a presidential race and who not to support. And the attacks just began, and they were relentless for 4 years. And I saw this point when this power structure was allowing BLM and Antifa to burn this country to the ground and murder people out in the open and do nothing about it. And that's what launched Patriot Streetfighter. And I'm not sure I saw it coming. I knew at some point in my life I was going to get to a place where I was going to have to rally this battle cry on this country to get it on its feet to fight, or we're going to lose everything. Incidentally, that happened. And I can tell you, I was pulled out of a grave in 2014 from a catastrophic motorcycle crash that destroyed me beyond repair. Many of you know that story. I was laying face down on a road, dying, wasn't breathing, pelvis blown off my spine, leg broken in 7 pieces, foot nearly severed, every organ in my body was shutting down. And I rectified my soul that was my time and I was going to die. And I was put my forehead down on the road, wasn't breathing, was going to move peacefully into the next evolution of my spiritual ascension. It was an incredible moment. Well, something was different, at least in the mind of our Creator. I got kicked back onto the playing field, and I guess I'm not allowed to go through the door until I clean my language up a bit. But then it started out to be this horrific journey. I woke up 11 days later, butchered. They put enough metal in my body from the waist down to build a bicycle, paralyzed my left side. And you wake up to something like that and you think, how could this be? This doesn't happen to people like me. So I go from being a high performance athlete all of my adult life to this, trapped in this wrecked hall that I can't get out of. And it was an existence that we all fear. None of us would want to see anybody that they know, care about, or love in that circumstance, but that's where I was. And I can tell you, from my point of view, born again Christian at 14 years old, studying divinity for 2 decades, there came a point where I threw it all overboard, threw the Bible overboard, threw God overboard. F you. I'm not going to live like this anymore. And quantum physics became my Bible. And so for the next 15 years, that was part of my studies, epistemology, metaphysics, philosophies, religions. I've been studying those things for years, looking for this blueprint on why I'm here. What the hell am I here for? And I found meaning in it, because what I did was I was able to discover the power of the Christ, as I call the Christ consciousness, what Christ was trying to share with us, and our ability to do what he said, these works you will do, and even greater than I. And what does that mean? What that means in modern English is we got to get off our butts and we have to do something. We have to be the ones. I could have laid there and just accepted my fate, accepted that I would never be upright again, never be walking again. But I truly understood how we can manifest our own reality by our conscious thinking. Now, it took me 5 years, but said I'd walk again, I'd work again, and I would ride again. And that was the place that I had to be to unleash what was inside of me that had been laying there latent and dormant all of my life. And I'm telling you something, all of you that are here today, and I assure you that you think of this, and this is part of your soul, because you're here today. You're discovering it. You're waking up. You all know that you were born to be greater and do something greater than what you've just done or the life you've lived up to this point in time. That's why you're here today. We now have this great awakening of the Christ consciousness. The spiritual ascendant energy is bringing all of us together for this epic fight. We were here, chosen to be here, or we chose to be here for this time, to be part of and exacerbate this transcendental leap of the human species to a higher level of consciousness. That's what's happening to you here today. That's what's happening to all of you who recently got it. It clicked and decided you were going to step out, step up, and start doing something to break this harmonic rhythm that we get into, that they built in this matrix, back and forth, work to home, home to work, work to home, home to work. After so many years, that becomes a ditch, and it keeps getting deeper and deeper. It becomes a massive grave with no ends on it. That's the system and the machine that they built, that Donald Trump and company are trying to destroy and clear everything out of our way, so we have access to the abundant resources on the planet, all those resources have been sequestered by this global criminal power structure that could be used to begin rebuilding Eden and allow you the opportunity to start discovering who you really are. It took a sledgehammer. It took me putting a Harley Davidson into the side of a van at 50 miles an hour, knowing in process I was dead. It took that. And it took this 5-year comeback when I said, I don't care what they say. I'm going to walk again. I'm going to work again. And I'm going to ride again. 5 years. I refused the disability check because I couldn't have that going into my head that I'm disabled. And a very dear friend, an older man, a Jewish man, took me in for 5 years because I refused the disability check. I could live there for free and work my way back and fight every day to walk again. I was eating eggshells for 2 years because I didn't have enough money that I could afford calcium supplements to try to start repairing this. But I never let up. I knew what Christ tried to tell us, and I was going to prove it to the world, and I was going to walk again, and I was going to help people understand this is the power that we have. This isn't a Scott McKay thing. This is a Scott McKay story that led to Patriot Streetfighter. The first step was overcoming that. And by the way, in your world and in life, it's not always going to go your way, because 5 years later, I'm walking, working, and I'm riding. I just bought my dream twisted cherry color Harley Davidson. I'm 2.5 months into it. I'm out there riding. I'm looking up, looking at God, because I had a full circle comeback to God one night in the middle of this experience where I actually was, the presence on my shoulder, the question in my head, is this you? My body lit up in the middle of the night. I stayed in that sleep zone. I didn't want to wake up because I didn't want it to stop. It's like, guys, that the girl you're with and you were dreaming about kissing her one day, and now you're in a dream and you're going to kiss her and you're going to wake up. You know how pissed you get, like, don't you dare wake up. I had one of those moments. Don't wake up. And whatever this thing happened to me, when my mind asked, is this you? My whole body lit up for about 30 seconds. It was the most amazing thing. And I just stayed there, and it peacefully died down. And I went back to sleep, which I never do when I wake up in the middle of the night. And the next day I woke up and I realized that I had the hand of God had finally touched me, or its presence let me know I am here and I am with you. So that power allowed me to believe that I would come back. But again, it's not always going to bounce your way, because 2.5 months later, coming in downtown Dallas on my beautiful dream Harley Davidson, and I come through a major intersection, a pickup truck blows the intersection at high speed, catches me sideways, and I go flying through the air across 4 lanes of traffic, airborne like Superman, headed for a curb, head first. And I just said to myself, I don't think I'm going to make it out of this one. I land on my back, and I'm an optimist, so the first thing that I thought was, I looked around, I saw my bike laying right here up against curb, all the traffic stopping, and I saw that I had landed in grass, and I thought, holy shit, I just landed in the only patch of grass in downtown Dallas. Things are looking up. Anyways, I reach over, lift up my left leg, the one that had the foot reattached, busted badly. Anyways, so below the metal that goes from my hip down the side of my femur, 12 screws hold it in. Just below that, a clean break drop off. Femur's busted. And I looked down my lower leg. They reattached my foot, gave me about 30% chance to keep it with the damage. It's bent down 90 degrees. The leg's shattered, 90-degree angle, foot's turned in. I thought, oh my goodness gracious, I am going to lose it. I end up in a trauma center again. They see all the metal in my body, outside of my bones, from my spine to the ground. What are we going to do with this guy? I begged him to save my leg. I said, just give me one more chance. I will make it back. And I don't know if they were going to take it, but they finally said the next morning, calm down, we're going to keep your leg. Now, I remember looking up in the air, and I'm laying in a trauma center bed. I'm looking up and I'm thinking, are you effing kidding me? I thought we had a deal. And friends came in to see me that night at 2 a.m. I was with them earlier, and they're just shaking their head, and they're like, and I said, look, guys, I guess an epic comeback wasn't good enough for God. He wants a super epic comeback. They just shook their head. So I set out for this super epic comeback. And of course, 2 years later, I got the bike we have now, the Patriot Streetfighter Harley Davidson. Of course, my friend flipped out. He said, are you out of your effing mind? And I said, well, we've already established that. How do you like the bike? He said, haven't you learned anything about all this, from all this? I said, well, hell yeah. He goes, what'd you learn? I said, what I've learned is I'm impossible to kill. How do you like my bike? So he said, you're truly insane. My point is, You have to look at the positive and everything, regardless of what happens. And no matter how bad it may get in this epic battle, it is you, it is this connected to this, to the Christ consciousness, to the spiritual ascension energy that's cascading on the planet and going to empower you, regardless of what you may see, that you keep marching forward. You keep doing what you're doing today, and you get to events like these events that people like Eric Deters put on that are an incredible time, resource, and money commitment for anybody to do it, to get you guys together, to fuse your souls, to exchange numbers, meet each other, and get active. We started fueling the fire on Tactical Civics 1 year ago. 4 years they've been trying to get a chapter in every county in the country, 3,143. And they had about 150 after 4 years, 17 years of research prior to that, to get us to a point where we can bring back the county grand juries and get control of local county politics. We get control of the country locally, federally, statewide, forget it. County at a time. Once 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counties start doing what they need to do in their backyard, the template sweeps the country literally overnight. And we get the power back in the hands of the people. That's what Donald Trump has been trying to do, get the power back. So after 1 year, we go from 150 counties to over 1,800 of the 3,143 counties that have now a chapter to begin the process. They had about 600 people. We have over 8,000 in a year. That's what's happened. That's not about me. It isn't even my mission. I'm fueling it. David Zuniga's mission. But that shows me the people are ready to take this country back. You have to keep doing what you're doing. You have to be part of it. And I'm just happy I could be here for today for a few minutes to share with you my heart and soul, tell you how much I respect all of you, the mad love I have for you patriots. Keep fighting, because I am telling you, under any and all circumstances, I don't care what the landscape looks like, we win this time. This is our time. It's your time to experience and be part of this victory of us taking back this planet, country first, then the planet, from this criminal power structure. And we are going to usher in that Christ consciousness, and we get to rebuild the Garden of Eden. Much love to all of you. Stand by. Got Donald Trump Jr. coming up, Kimberly Guilfoyle. It's going to be an epic day for all of you. I wish I could be there, but this is the best I could do. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share my heart and soul with you. Much love. And for that, I will sign off. Patriot Streetfighter out.